want to count us?
Yeah. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, you pull up in your Hummer and you park next to my Volt. Wearing Armani three-piece that will leave us full of holes. Well, you walk along the left side and I walk along the right. We're both trying to reach the same place. We might not get there on time, but you know what's best. I know what's best. Let's just agree to disagree. We all know the rest, yeah. Baby, if you care, if you really care, baby, if you dare, won't you meet me halfway there, yeah. Baby, if you dare, won't you meet me halfway there, yeah. Each and every Sunday morning, you sit in your church pew. I'm sitting on the mountainside, taking in this glorious view. Well, I know my God is listening, and I know yours must be too. 'Cause if God is love and love is godly, why do we argue? I don't know why. I wanna try. Let's just agree to each other before we criticize it, yeah. Baby, if you care, if you really care, baby, if you dare, won't you meet me halfway there, yeah. Baby, if you dare, won't you meet me halfway there, yeah. Could you meet me down the river, hash it out over a beer? Could we smoke from the same peace pipe till our anger disappears? You just want respect, respect. You want love, love. I want that too, for me and for you and everyone. You know what's best. I know what's best. Let's just agree to disagree. Put this thing to rest, baby, if you care, if you really care, baby, if you dare, won't you meet me halfway there, yeah, yeah. Baby, if you dare, won't you meet me halfway there, yeah, yeah. Baby, if you dare, won't you meet me halfway there, yeah, yeah. Baby, if you dare, won't you meet me halfway there? Walk across the street now. Meet me in the middle.
Well, welcome everybody. I'm John Pareles, the chief pop music critic at the New York Times. Sheryl Crow, live, acoustic, without a net, no
Without a net,
auto-tune.
and you can tell. This is
No.
Peter Stroud, by the way. This is my friend Robert Kearns.
And we're going to hear some songs, and I have, through the telepathy connection to the internet, I have questions from readers here.
Oh, cool.
But that's from your new album. That's from Be Myself.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little about it?
That song was in response to the climate last year, and actually it's still going on, but certainly while we were making the record, and I think we were writing for it in August, the climate just politically and socio-politically as well, it just seemed like there was a lot of fear-mongering with the election and a lot of pitting neighbor against neighbor as far as our differences, and this song kind of addresses that. it really just asked the question, if we all kind of want the same things for our children and for ourselves, then why can we not have a conversation that has at least a modicum of decorum and, a sense of dignity? So, it's a song of encouragement, I guess.
Hope. Drew Taylor from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, a reader asked, has the current political climate affected the way you write or play songs?
Oh my gosh, Drew. Can we talk, Drew, for just a minute? Well, there's this saying that your art is always influenced by your life, or your life dictates what your art says and how it looks and how it feels. And last year for me, and I don't know how many of you guys know this, but I tried to start, in fact, I did start a petition through change.org to try to at least shorten the campaign cycle so that we wouldn't have to go through two years of something like what we went through last year during the last election. But for me, I have little kids, and I just found that it was not only disturbing my peace, it was disturbing their peace. They'd come home from school asking me things that were difficult for me to answer, things that a 6-year-old shouldn't be asking me about what certain words mean. And they were things that were being batted around during the election, all these debates and what was in the news cycles. And I was very adamant about my kids not ever being able to get to the remote control to turn on the TV before I did, because I was afraid of what they would land on. And so all that, I think, added to the energy that was in the room while Jeff and I were making this record. He is a teenager, so even though my kids are younger, we were experiencing something very similar. And I think most of America was too, just kind of asking ourselves, who are we and what does this represent in us? To make a long story longer. Sorry, Drew.
Let me ask a question from Michael Cass. How has living and working in Nashville changed you, making music in Nashville?
Well, I'll tell you what. Nashville has been for me, as a single mom raising 2 boys, just a fantastic, given us a fantastic quality of life. I have family down there, and so that was my main impetus for moving there. As my sister lived there, and I had 2 adopted boys. I didn't want to do it by myself. But the music scene, really, in the last 11 years since I moved there, has changed quite a bit. It's expanded. It's embraced the East Nashvilleian sort of more, less country, more Americana. Mm-hmm. You're an East Nashvilleian.
I am.
So yeah, just everything about Nashville, I think, is starting to embrace all kinds of different people, whereas Tennessee's basically always been a very conservative state. I think Nashville is growing, it's expanding, and but I don't think you should move there.
Why not?
Because everyone's moving there. I'm actually kidding, but sort of not really. Anyway,
They can
it's
all
a
move
great
to
place.
LA.
It's a great place, and it's been a great place for me to work because just the work ethic down there is family first, and that's where I fall. So it's been great for me.
The reader from Stratford, Ontario, named Riley, asks, what drew you back to your rock roots with this record? Do you ever see yourself returning to country?
Well, Riley, I think there's a lot of country on this record too, but I think country is just being defined and redefined on a daily basis. Like, country music that you hear on the radio now it's a more pop tinged version of what country used to be. Like, you hear some of the same vocal tonalities, but the lyrics are very different, the grooves are different, the instrumentation's very different, except for every song has a mandolin or a pedal steel on it. And that's about the only thing that qualifies what country is. Now, unless you dial into like an old country station, you go to to Willie's station, or a place that plays legitimately standard country, where the truth is in the lyric and that kind of thing. So I feel like I bring the tenets of country into my music, the storytelling, and even the structure. I'm sort of like a 4 or 5 chord Annie. So, but yeah, this record is far from the country format. So I don't know if I'll ever make a record for the country format again, because it was made obvious to me that I really am not a part of that population. But I think I have a big fan overlap there of people that just like songs. So think that's. Is that good? Is that good for you?
Yeah.
Good for you?
I would agree.
Okay. These guys are here actually just to make sure I say the right things
Yeah.
and to edit me.
I thought you were the Greek chorus.
They're the Greek chorus, yes. They have spears, and if I say something bad, they spear me in the back.
I have the hook.
A reader from New York, Kelly Fristo, asks, she really admires you. He or she, Carrie Frisco, really admires your songwriting. Do you have a usual process that you go through for writing them, and can you tell us about it?
Kelly, it's kind of funny because this record, which I feel like is punky in the way that my second and third, and actually my fourth records were, punky in the attitude, like the devil may care, get into the kitchen and just start throwing stuff into the stew and see what you wind up with. And it's punky like that, but this record was made between, like, in school hours, if you can imagine. Like, I dropped my kids off at school at 8:30, and then dinner time at 6. That's when I worked. And when I would have said in the old days that writing would have been really difficult for me unless I was like, late hours going out and collecting life experiences, blah, blah, blah. I find that now there's just so much to write about, and I'm so open to it, and I feel so liberated by my age and the fact that I get to write music for grown-ups and not be concerned with writing for the pop consumer. I find that it's just, I don't know, it's flowing, at least right now it is. And our typical mode is, particularly on this record and all those early records, was Jeff on the guitar and me on the bass and a mic set up and then a great drum programmer or a drummer. And that's really how we made this record, just like the old days.
So this was Jeff Trott who made...
Jeff Trott, yes, who's written a lot with me through the last 25 years. And who just recently moved to Nashville and lives 3 minutes from my house. So it was just.
So you're letting him in?
I've given him the gate code. Yes, he knows how to enter.
Carrie, who asked that last question, also asked, do you have a favorite guitar to write your songs on? And wants to know what make, model, and year, if you have one.
Well, I have an acoustic guitar that I've owned. It was the first guitar I ever bought, and we call it the little money maker. Because most of the songs that ever made any money, I wrote on that. But I will be honest with you, that's a 1967 country and western. It's a Gibson, and but really, almost everything on this record I wrote on bass. And I have a Guild. I think it's a 1974 or 1972 Guild M85, and play it through like just a small little Ampeg setup. Jeff played mostly my country and western through an amp, believe it or not, through one of those little tweed amps, and that's predominantly the sound of the record.
So you're sitting there playing quietly. You're not cranking up the bass to shake the house.
No, and on all my early records, I played a K bass through like a little small Marshall, and I think you hear about Led Zeppelin making those records and how big they sounded, but they were using like a little Supro. So the studio is kind of different because sometimes the smaller the amp, the bigger the sound, because the amp isn't putting like this massive sound out all over the place. It's really just pointed, and your mic is getting the glory of all of that small speaker.
We got one more question before the next song.
Kelly's like,
I don't know about that.
blah blah blah.
Let's talk here.
Susan from Brooklyn, New York asks, do you have any pre-songwriting rituals?
I usually like to skin a squirrel and then we run over it with a car really fast. No, I'm kidding. Well, not really. I mean, I drink. My ritual in the morning, and on this record was get up, get my kids dressed, get some food in them, grab some coffee, take them to school, come back, meditate, and then go into the studio. And that was kind of my deal on this one. I've never had really any rituals before writing. Usually, it would be like grinding of teeth and hair pulling and telling myself how much I suck, and then by the end of the day I would be writing. But now I'm a kinder, gentler version of myself.
Well, can we hear another song?
Yeah, let's do. We're gonna do a song. This is actually the title track. This is called "Be Myself," and it's kind of funny. The song is really inspired by my fear and intimidation of social media. And I'll be honest with you, social media and I are we're in foreplay. We're just getting to know each other, and we're just barely, we're just coming to an understanding. So this song is about the pressures of social media and how important it is in young people, and how now it's the norm that everything revolves around social media, texting. That's all word of mouth. So that's how you find out about things. So this is called Be Myself. Ready?
Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I saw my shrink today. He said, "Girl, I can't help you. I've been seeing you so long, but nothing has changed. You tried Adderall and alcohol. Sadly, the fact remains you're terminally normal. I'm sorry to say." So I shaved my head and I changed my name and I gave my pills away. If I can't be someone else, if I can't be someone else, oh, if I can't be someone else, I might as well be myself, myself. Be myself. Hanging with the hipsters is an awful hard work. How many selfies can you take before you look like a jerk? I took an Uber to a juice bar to hear a new indie band play. They got 99 million followers in only one day. But I made a slip and I took the flick. I got into a stranger's car, 'cause the heels don't fit, so I finally quit and headed back to my favorite bar. If I can't be someone else, if I can't be someone else, oh, if I can't be someone else, I might as well be myself, myself. Don't you wanna be your own girl? Don't you wanna be your own girl? Don't you wanna be your own girl? Oh, if I can't be someone else, if I can't be someone else, oh, if I can't be someone else. Oh, if I can't be someone else, if I can't be someone else, oh, if I can't be someone else, I might as well be myself, be myself. Oh, if I can't be someone else, I might as well be myself, myself. Ooh, be myself.
Be myself.
Nailed it.
So that's an entirely true story, right?
Totally.
Actually, you told me when we did the interview for the Sunday paper that those verses just kind of poured out of you.
Oh my gosh. The Uber to the juice bar, hanging with the hipsters, is a complete, and I actually wound up just listening to it and transcribing it. And I think I think for me, sometimes there's a lot of stuff just getting stored back there in some chamber, and I don't walk around anymore with a pencil and paper, or I don't have my cell phone dictation thing. In fact, I rarely have my phone on me when I have my kids around. So I think it just, man, I don't know what it was, but I sat down at the mic with the bass and the groove and Jeff, and it just was a really nice experience, and that does not happen very often. I mean, there are songs that I toiled over for like 2 years before I ever finished them, and most of this record, a lot of it came out in like big chunks and informed what the song was going to be about, and then I could just kind of fill in the blanks.
Well, can you tell me when you twiddled over for 2 years?
Gosh, there was a whole record that was just like, it was a full-on gnashing of teeth experience. It was called the Come On, Come On record. Soak Up the Sun is on it, and
Which is such a happy, fun song.
I know, and luckily I can listen to that record now and not hear the machinations that went into making that record, but it just was, that was the record where Chrissy Hine walked in and said, you have to stop this. She came to Avatar Studios to visit, and I was in there, and I'm sure I looked like I'd been living underground for 5 years, which I had. And she said, your music is something you do. Your life is your life. Music is not your life. And she's like, you have to give this a break. And I did, and when I came back to it, I felt really good. But it wasn't until she walked in and said, look, I took 8 years off to have my kids, to raise my kids. You have to feel that well. And so, yeah, I mean, there were things I just couldn't finish. In fact, so much so that I wound up calling Bob Dylan and saying, help me, what do I do? And he gave me some great advice. And so it was just one big, long train of trying to figure out how to finish a record.
Wow. I'm glad this one was easier.
Yeah, actually, this was like 3 weeks of writing and then about 2 or 3 weeks of finishing it.
Nice work
Great.
if you can get it.
Yes.
A reader from Studio City, California, Ty Bonaventura, asks, do you think your early experiences as a music teacher had an effect on how you approached expressing yourself as an artist in writing and performing?
I think my early years, Ty, is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ty. I think, and I've thought about this a lot because my kids are in school now and they have teachers, and I'm kind of explaining to my kids sometimes, like one of my kids will come home and say, well, she was really mean today, or she gave me the stink eye. That's a big thing in our house. And I have to explain to them, it's not like they have a couple of kids sitting at the kitchen table at dinner time. They have, 17 kids, and they want you guys to stay with them, and so you may be catching them at a moment when they're frustrated, and it may not be at you. It's like that book, The Four Agreements. Don't take it personally, and don't make assumptions, but I do think about being a school teacher in the context that had I not been a school teacher, I don't know if I would have become who I am, certainly. It was a job that was a real job in the real world, and I think having had a real job before I became a, quote, rock star or a personality or celebrity or whatever it is these days that you look at someone like me as, I don't know who I would have been. I know that prepared me for what it means to actually show up to work, to actually be responsible for being present, and so all that obviously has weighed into my music.
Did it teach you communication skills? I mean, if you're...
Yeah, but I had elementary kids, so it definitely helped me as a mom, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think storytelling, no matter what, it has been a dying art form. I think it's coming back. I think it really is important that we spend time with our, people that are older than us to hear the stories of what, the stories they have to tell. And I think a certain amount of teaching, I feel, revolves around storytelling. And the best kind of teaching revolves around personal example.
So you got to be there and show up to be that personal example.
Up. Yeah.
I've got a question from Nikki, a reader from New Jersey. Is there anything, quote, career-wise that you haven't been able to do yet and wish you could or have?
I'd like to meet John Lennon, and I don't think I'm a few years off.
Bad timing.
From getting there, yeah. Yeah, gosh, if I made a wish list of all the people that I would love to collaborate with, it would be a long one. But, You know, I don't think in the context of what have I not done yet, because I'm really just super peaceful about where I'm at. And if I start getting outside of right now, then it tends to just upset my peace. And that is, I mean, that's the only thing I'm trying to manifest at this point in my life, is just having peace about what I'm doing at any given moment. And that already is hard enough. So to think outside of the box of what have I not done yet? It just creates a pressure that's out of my control. And that control thing, that relationship that I have with how much I think I control, is one that I've finally abandoned.
Well, speaking of control, can we hear a couple more songs?
Yeah, actually, this is kind of good, because the next song that we're going to do it's called Longway Back, and it really speaks to that. It speaks to, you know, I look at it and think it's sort of like part 2 of Every Day is a Winding Road. And that every day is a winding road, the person in that song is really learning a lot and looking at the road as ahead. And this song, the person is looking at the road behind them, and how taking all of the detours have brought them to a place, and how taking the long way around sometimes is where you find yourself. So this is called Long Way Back.
1, 2, 3.
Got an up-close glimpse of the outside world. It's an awful big place, well, that's for damn sure. More of this life than most have seen, and it's taking a mighty big toll on me. Sure feel good to be free. Some days I feel alright, some days I can't wait until it's night. Sometimes I gotta face the light, get back in the ring, put on your gloves and fight. I think it's gonna take some time to find a way my mind. I'm gonna take the long way back home. I'm gonna take the long way back home, back home. Did you ever see a man have a heart attack? It'll open your eyes and stop you in your tracks. Well, I put away my last cigarette. Get it right this time, I clean up my act. That's a cold hard fact. Some days I feel alright, some days I can't wait until it's night. Sometimes you gotta face the light, get back in the ring, put on your gloves and fight. I think it's gonna take some time to find a way to ease my mind. I'm gonna take the long way back home. live.
Yes.
We've got one song left. Can you tell us about writing? You're doing oldie.
Yeah, actually, this song was from the second record, which was called the Sheryl Crow record. And I wrote it with Jeff, who I've written this new record with. And we were in New Orleans, and my experience had been that I'd sold just a monumental amount of records of the first record, and there was no social media back then. There was none of that. But nonetheless, after winning a bunch of awards and being on the covers of magazines, people started to turn and were just sick of me. And the flavor changed. Like, for instance, there were a lot of people there in the beginning that really championed me because they had a personal attachment. I was new, I was young, and there was a lot of word of mouth. But then when I became, like larger than life, it was like, eh. And so I felt really just a little charred around the edges. So we went into the studio, much like making this record, closed the doors and just started writing, and not thinking about, okay, it's a sophomore record, you got to sell 9 million copies. And we just sort of like, oh, let's just be kids and let's just write and see what happens. And so this song was kind of a direct response to the popularity and then the downfall after the first record. So it's called If It Makes You Happy, It Can't Be That Bad. Okay.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I've been gone a long way from here. Put on a poncho, played for mosquitoes, drank till I was thirsty again. I went searching through thrift store jungles. Found Geronimo's rifle, Maryland shampoo, Benny Goodman's porcelain bin. Well, okay, I made this up. I promised you I'd never give up. If it makes you happy, it can't be that bad. If it makes you happy, why the hell are you so sad? You get down, real low down. You listen to Coltrane, derail your own train. Who hasn't been there before? I come around the hard way. Bring your comics in bed, scrape the gold off the bread, and serve you French toast again. Okay, I still get stoned. I'm not the kind of girl you take home. If it makes you happy, it can't be that bad. If it makes you happy, why the hell are you so sad? If it makes you happy, it can't be that bad. If it
Robert Cruz, Peter Stott, thank you for being here.
John,
So
thank
great to hear
you.
acoustically.
I
in a
know.
room.
It's fun. We haven't actually done it this way because we haven't really had an acoustic bass, so it's fun. Thank you for letting us do it for you.
Well, thanks for being here. Are we signing out? We're very live.